Good morning. I woke up to a lot of news notifications. I've been watching the news on my computer now. I think this is the most deadly mass shooting in modern history, and it's terribly sad, and maybe I'll talk about my stance on guns later. And I'm probably gonna continue watching the news. I have to get ready. It's terrible that stuff like this continues to happen. Nothing's gonna be done about it, at least for the next few years. That's what it is.
And the succession of firearms going off just kept going over and over in like groups of 10. I'd say at least we heard 50 or 60 minimum.
Hi, can I get a tall pumpkin spice latte? Yeah, a bottle of water.
That elevator trapped me inside once. That's never a go. Supposed to press the basement button because it flooded. Just tape it, it's fine. It solves all the problems. Searching for cockroaches. Because it's a good kind. Yes. Oh, Grace. So much Grace. Hey everyone. So I decided to round this vlog out with a chat at the end of the day. So I didn't vlog very much throughout the day. It just kind of happens when I go to school. But I went to see my friend Megan after classes, and her and I just stayed in and had really interesting conversations, and they're super personal, so like I'm not gonna really summarize it, I guess. But anyway, we talked about a couple different topics, and it made me think further on them on the drive home, and I wanted to briefly discuss them. Maybe not briefly, we'll see. First off, to kind of complete something else that I began talking about before I get into this new discussion. So I've been watching the news as much as possible today, reading updates. I get updates from CNN sent to my phone. It's terrible what happened. Like, you could see how upset I was this morning. I was watching videos, and I wish and I hope and I will vote for representatives that believe in gun reform. And Democrat, Republican, Independent. I think most people in Congress and Senate have the NRA in their pocket. The NRA has donated the money. That's what I mean by that. It's a lobbyist organization, and it prevents people from voting how they either feel they should vote, how their constituents want them to vote, because the NRA gave them money, and so they're indebted. So I think it's sad, and it's not just a Republican issue, despite that's usually one of like the major things that they're running for is don't control my gun rights and everything. It's an issue all around, and it's terrible that the NRA is preventing reform. And I blame them for that. And the people who accepted the money, I blame them too. I don't know how the man obtained the weapons, but according to, I guess, people who are familiar with what they sound like, they think that they were automatic weapons, fully automatic weapons, and it's easy to find them, it's easy to buy them, it's easy to make them. You need a weapon to protect you and your family and your property. And even if you wanted to use a gun recreationally, like, I don't really believe in hunting, but I get that, like, people like to do it. Even in those situations, you don't need a semi-automatic weapon, which is legal to purchase. I don't think you need anything with, like, these excessive clips where you can just keep putting more bullet, like, if you don't know what a clip is it's like a preloaded extra chamber that, like, once one is out, you press a button, that pops out, and you can press another one in quickly. I think those should, and those types of guns, those semi-automatics, should be reserved for military and police and people who should be able to, like, get permits, like, if they need them. I think the general public should be restricted to rifles and revolvers. And I know this video is not going to be monetized because I'm talking about this, but I don't care. It's just senseless and it's terrible, and I hate that nothing is going to change because the NRA is never going to stop unless lobbyists and organizations like that are not able to do that any longer, aren't able to funnel money into certain people's campaigns so that they owe them favors. I feel so powerless to do anything about it. I plan on emailing and maybe writing a letter to my representative. It's not going to do anything, but I feel like if everyone actually did that, I don't know. It's something in my power that I can do, so I'm going to do that. But onto a different topic, something that Megan and I were talking about. I made notes for myself on the way home that I wanted to touch on. We watched a video that John Green put up on his new book where he read the first chapter. I think it's called Turtles All the Way Down. And I'm actually excited to read it. I hadn't looked into it before. I'm not really into YA, so I wasn't thinking I would like it. Like, when he was reading the chapter, I was just like, I was so in awe of his writing style that was used in the thought process of, like, a teenage girl, and, like, talking about these different thoughts and behaviors and OCDs, and it's just so fascinating to me. But there is a line, something to the effect of, we think that our lives are like autobiographies, like we're the author of our lives, but really we're just a character in it. And I thought that was so interesting, and it reminded me of a discussion I had in a class on early American Lit. Brief preface, the class itself is not like how you'd probably imagine most college classes are. This is a professor I had who I love the guy. He taught a class, the first time I had with him, on affect, aesthetics, and figuration. So he's, like, very out of the box in the way that he teaches and the subjects that we talk about and how we look at things. We were talking on this woman, Mary Rowlandson, who wrote a diary of experiences when she was kidnapped, and we were talking about the dichotomy of how it's Mary Rowlandson the person and Mary Rowlandson the author, and how those are different, but they coexist in the same space. And we're just talking on how that was. And anyway, it reminded me of, like, you being the author of your life versus just a character in your life. I think, again, there's that duality, and it's a lot of it's based on perspective. Anyway, I thought it was a really interesting thought, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you. I literally have my class notes right here because I wanted to reference them. If you don't know very much about Ralph Waldo Emerson, but you're a fan of his writing, look up, like, into his life. It's so fascinating. He was a Unitarian minister. He shortly after becoming that gave that up because he realized he didn't believe in religion, and it was like looking in the past constantly. And he thought that the spiritual world was in the present, and he believed that nature and the spirit were inseparable, I think was the word. Naturalism as a way of self-help. That is something that I really loved. So, and maybe the word wasn't naturalism. We talk very fast in that class, but something to the effect of nature, like going into nature as a way of self-help. God, why can't I find the one thing I'm looking for? I'll have to find that another day. I'm just sitting here flipping through, and I feel like this ending is long enough, but I just wanted to touch on Aristotle's perspective on happiness and how to achieve that, and how I wrote an essay over that, thinking, wow, maybe I'll actually get an answer. I read his Nietzschean Ethics. I butchered that, I'm sure. But I thought, oh, it'll hold answers, and in the end, it did not hold answers. There's so much that I don't understand about it, but regardless, maybe in a different discussion, I would talk about that. Maybe I will do this again tomorrow if you guys like it. I will see you soon. I hope your day has been okay, and if it hasn't, I hope that tomorrow will be good for you. So I will talk to you guys then.